Hi guys, and thank you for coming to the Real Bionic Lady, the Black One. We're happy that you join us today, and I'm here with Mom, and we're going to talk about a very touchy subject, especially among us who believe in Jesus Christ, and that is that the church is full of hypocrites. You have ever heard that? People say, I'm not going to church because the church, they're so full of hypocrites. And you want to know what? They're right. We are. Let me explain first that the church is a hospital. Wait, excuse me, is that your subject today? That the church is full of people that don't. This child don't have no sense. Why you say that? Because you sitting up here talking about the people in church. The people in church is hypocrites. I'm not no hypocrite. I am not no hypocrite. God knows my heart. And so if God knows your heart, God knows our heart, then he knows that we're most wicked, okay? And that nobody is perfect. That's what he knows. And that's the reason why we need Jesus, right? Because nobody is perfect. And the Bible says this, okay, first of all, about who we are, right? So Ephesians 2 and 8 through 10 says, you looking? Yes. It is by our free grace, God's favor to Christians, that we are partakers of Christ's salvation through our faith. Okay? So it's only by faith that we're saved. And this salvation is not you of yourselves. It's not by your own doing. It didn't come from because I strived for it, but it is a gift of God. Um, And then I'm going to use an example to bring this home for you in a minute. And then 9 says, not because of our works, not the fulfillment of the law's demands, lest any man should boast, meaning brag. So in other words, if we can get to heaven by our own merit, and when we get to heaven, we can say things like, well, I did good works and I gave to the poor and stuff like that. That's why I should get in. Then, if you say anything that you've done, well, you're not probably going to get in because it's not about you. What? I feel something coming on. Go ahead. Go ahead. Just read read the Bible. That's what you do. Read the Bible and see what it say. Okay? Because you're sitting up there telling these people a lot. You is going to hell. You are going to hell. I'm not going to hell. I'm not going to hell because I believe in Jesus. And that's the point. Believing in Jesus, here it's talking about that we have God by our faith. We hold on to Jesus and believe in him by faith. Some of us get to see the evidence of God in our own lives in that he changes us, right? He changed me. He changed me. Okay, I'm not doing the things that I used to do. You know what I mean? Bless God. And a lot of things that I'm not doing because he changed me. And I cooperated with that change. But still, at the end of the day, there's still things that everybody, including myself, will go through in order to tear down our and in order to tear down our own wickedness. The Bible talks that we are most wicked. We are most wicked. Excuse me, you are most wicked. You are most wicked. That's the problem. You sitting up here telling people they are not going to go to heaven because they are most wicked. Where does it say that in the Bible? Where does it say that in the Bible? It says that in the Bible. And so we're going to turn to where Jesus talks himself about man's heart. Okay? And we're going to go first to Matthew 5 and 28. It says, Matthew 5 and 28. It says, but I say to you that everyone who looks at a woman with lustful intent has already committed adultery in his heart. Yeah. So, at the end of the day, It's our heart that convicts us. If so, what I try to do is when I read the Bible, I don't look at, I don't point fingers. I don't say you are guilty of. I always think that God is talking to me, because I'm not going to stand before God and account for anybody but myself. So he says, so it's saying here in Matthew 5:28, but I say to you, Xiomara, that if you look at a man with lustful intent in your heart, you have already committed adultery in my heart. Okay, this is what Jesus is saying to me, that I'm committing adultery in my heart, not because of, you know, not because of anything will I ever get into heaven. So let's look now at Matthew 5:22. Actually, let's look at Mark 7:20 through 23. And it says, and Jesus said, what comes out of a man's, what comes out of a man is what makes him, or Xiomara, unclean and makes man unholy. Okay, and at that time, Jesus was talking to the Pharisees, who were telling Jesus that his disciples were guilty of not washing their hands ceremonially. It was a ceremony that they did. And so Jesus was like, you know what, you're so caught up on the works. And this is a good example of what I mean about works. Is, that's what made us holy. We're priests, and we're coming and we're washing our hands, and yes, we're holy. Therefore, you know what I mean? And that is absolutely not what holiness is. And that's what Jesus is saying here. He's saying from Mark 7:23, and Jesus said, what comes out of a man's heart is what makes him unclean and unholy. Okay, so let's look now. First of all, that is true. That's what the Bible say. But you got to look at it in the context that it's saying. Okay, Jesus, well, he knew those Pharisee people, that they didn't have nothing good to say. So he just had to set them straight. Okay, you're right. So let's look at, we started at Mark 7:20, and now 21 says, from within his heart and of his heart comes wicked thoughts like sexual immorality, stealing, murder. And I'm going to expound upon murder in a minute, because that's when everybody's like, oh, well, I didn't commit murder. But in Matthew 5:22, it talks about what murder is. And he's saying that murder isn't just saying that you are killing somebody, but murder is also when you are thinking bad of your brother. If you have problems with your brother, if you hate your brother, that it's almost like murder, and you are just as guilty. You know what I mean? So let's move on. I don't know about this teaching here. This don't sound right to me at all. Okay, so 22 says, coveting and wickedness, which covers everything if you ask me. Coveting and wickedness, deceit, unrestrained, indecent conduct, and an evil eye. Even an evil eye. That's what it says in the Bible. That's what it says in the Bible. Well, I guess I can't argue with the Bible. Slander, which is speaking evil of folks. Okay. Pride. Yeah, and who hasn't been prideful at one time or another? Foolishness, which is lack of sense or reckless thoughts. Reckless and thoughtlessness. All these evil purposes, desires come from within and make a man unclean and unholy. But I personally, I would rather be in church with all the hypocrites, okay? just so you know, I'm expounding upon hypocrite here because the church is a hospital. And that's where us sick people go. And that's what I mean by hypocrite. That's what the world doesn't understand when they call us hypocrites. They don't understand that we're not perfect. We are in a hospital and we're trying to get better. So I'd rather be among the hypocrites in church who are trying not to be hypocrites, because at the end of the day, I don't have to be a hypocrite tomorrow because I'm seeking the Lord and I believe in his change. Now you're talking. Now you're talking some sense. Now you are talking. Okay, thank you. So I'd rather be among those hypocrites, us hypocrites, than be around or among people who have no consciousness at all of God. You know what I mean? So yeah, we're hypocrites, but we don't have to always be. And that's my take on hypocrites in church. Thank you for joining us.